Hi, good parents. This is Patty Wipfler here, and I'm here to talk about offering connection as the beginning of what may turn out to be setting limits. And when you notice that your child is balky, they're not cooperating, you've asked them to do something and they have not listened or are unwilling, rather than thinking about, okay, now it's time to set a limit, now it's time to make happen what needs to happen, and coming in kind of hard and fast. What we're suggesting for today's challenge is to connect, to offer connection as your very first thing you do. Now, if your child is pulling hair, pushing another child, grabbing toys one after the other, then you might want to skip the offering connection and bring the limit right away so they don't ruin their relationships with other children. But this is when it's a little, there's nothing harmful going on. It's just that you want something done and they're unwilling. So you want to offer connection because connection is what lights up a child's ability to flex, a child's ability to think, a child's ability to feel included enough to want to move in your direction when you request something. So it makes children generous when they feel connected. It makes children easygoing when they feel connected. It makes children happy to try something that you have in mind, like getting their teeth brushed, for instance. So that's one reason you'd want to connect. Another reason is that connecting to a child shows respect for their autonomy, shows respect for what they like to do and want to do. It's just a way of honoring who they are and what their preferences are for a minute or two. So you want to connect because it's a way to say, I care about you. I care about what you want. And when children can feel they're caring, they kind of come within the orbit of our love, and they are much more likely to be able to, move in our direction when we need something to be done. It doesn't guarantee it at all, but it's a good first move to show respect, to show caring, and then to say for a second time, and we need to, you need to put your shoes on now, we're going outside. So you want to lead with connection when there's no big emergency, no one's getting hurt, no one is totally out of line yet. And one of the things that can happen is that you also want to offer connection because sometimes it works. It doesn't always work, but boy, it's worth a try. So I'll give you a little example of when it works. This is not what's going to happen. I can't guarantee that this will happen in your house when you try connecting first before you set a limit. But it can and does happen very nicely. So a mom I know went to an adult party that she'd been looking forward to for a long time. Many families were there that she knew. The children were outside playing. The grown-ups were having their grown-up time together. And they arrived, and her one daughter went running off to play with the kids that she knew there. Her younger daughter hung onto her leg, wrapped tightly, did not want to go out with the other kids, started kind of whining and looking miserable, and the mom's heart sank. But it didn't sink so far that she lost her ability to think, and she said to her daughter, hey, how about 5 minutes of special time? What do you want to do? We'll do whatever you want. And because her daughter had many special times, her daughter had an immediate idea of what she wanted to do. She said, Mommy, let's climb under this table. I want to play birdie with you. So the mom and her daughter climbed under the hors d'oeuvres table, which had a long drapey tablecloth on it. So they were hidden from everybody else. And her daughter made a little pretend birdie nest under there. And she sat in the birdie nest, and then her mom fed her little bits of birdie food. And then the daughter decided that she wanted mommy to sit in the nest, and she wanted to feed her mommy. So mommy sat in the pretend nest, and the daughter fed her mommy little bits of birdie food. And they had this very sweet, taking care of each other time, being birdies underneath the hors d'oeuvres table. And 5 minutes came up, the mom's alarm went off. She said, oh, sweetie, this was so fun. Ooh, gave her a little hug and said, okay, it's time. I'm going to go out and talk to grown-ups now. Let's go see what everybody else is doing. And so they come out from under the table, and her daughter looks over and sees the kids outside, goes running off to play. That was it. It's like no harsh limit needed, no scolding, no lecture. Now, I told you this was going to be a grown-up party and I was going to talk with the grown-ups. It's like none of that was needed. Just a little connecting to sort of ease her daughter into, the situation. There's a story in the Listen book about a dad whose son was feeling really shy and not wanting to into his preschool classroom. And the dad just gave him a few minutes of special time. All the kids were playing outside, and the dad said, I'll do whatever you want to do in here. What do you want to do in the room inside? And his son showed him these toys over here and these playthings over here and this corner over here, and just basically was kind of the tour guide for the room and what he loved in the room. And by the time special time was up, 5 minutes, maybe it was 10, his son was ready to go out and be with people and feel comfortable there. So sometimes a little touch of special time, you can time it so it doesn't wind up stretching on forever. When you feel sure that special time has a beginning and an end, you are better at climbing into it and really connecting with your child. And your child is going to be better at feeling you there. And sometimes it works. Give it a try.